What we have here? I see Zoe, and that means probably Targon Lee Sin. Yep, I see just a Targon Lee Sin mirror straight up. When was the last time we got to see a good old fashioned Lee Sin mirror, SJW? Boy, oh boy, is this an exciting treat.
Are we really excited? it's,
Yep,
are we
yes, we are.
actually excited here, Boulevard? I don't know.
So, one thing that I'm excited to see, and you might see this come up a little bit later, but UCG BBoom Teemo, as is consistent with I think every UCG team member that I've seen in this top 32, is main decking a copy of Dragon's Rage in their Lee Sin deck.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I pointed it out when we first took a look at these decks a little bit earlier, and that definitely interests me. It's a card that I tried playing with before, but unfortunately, it's just never really. I don't know. It's never really taken off as far as just play rate is being concerned. I think I tried it in like a Yasuo deck, and obviously we all know that failed. Uh, but we gave it a shot. So yeah, and I did just fix the mic, guys, so it should be fine now. Thank you, though. Thank you, chat. So yeah, we get the
So,
elusive battle starting here right from the get.
I want to talk more about Dragon's Rage. Don't blow past that. So, this weekend, NA had its own kind of similar tech, Homecoming. Homecoming became very popular across a lot of the Lee Sin lists. I think it was even played in the winning list from Majin Bay. And it almost feels like in a lot of situations, Dragon's Rage is going to end up doing the same thing, where when you're in a mirror like this, you're just trying to sort of use it as a bounce spell. Yeah, you get a lot more kill potential out of something like Dragon's Rage, but something like Homecoming is just going to be more consistent. But I do think that Dragon's Rage gets a lot of value in this mirror match specifically. And mirror, in every sense of the word, is both players top deck the Veiled Temple on turn 4. It looks like it's going to work out a lot better for BBoom Teemo, though, who has just the much better pillar target at the moment.
Yeah, and this Veiled Temple is a card that we continue to see played in so many decks nowadays. Just that effect. I remember when it first came out, we were like, "Is this card going to see some play?" Turns out, the strongest unit getting +1/+1 and getting 2 mana every turn is pretty big, especially when, as we can see on the side of BBoom right now, Lee Sin's going to be that target. So if this Temple does go off, this Lee Sin is going to get pretty big pretty fast.
When I first saw the Veiled Temple, I kind of looked at it and said, eventually, this card is going to break Legends of Runeterra. And I don't think it's done that yet, but it definitely did get a lot more initial play than I kind of expected it to. I really expected this card to be sort of like Heimerdinger, where it takes a while to figure it out. We're not going to see it in a lot of early lists, but a lot of players took to this really quickly, and we've seen it pop up in so many different decks. Nearly every Aphelios deck is running this. Nearly every Targon deck is running this at this point, with the exception of Starspring, because they have a different landmark that they need to focus on. But Targon really is kind of turning into like this pillar on my strong champion kind of region. And I'm pretty interested to see how that actually continues on into Shurima as we hopefully get more landmark interaction.
Oh, yeah, Shurima with the landmark interaction. Well, just landmarks in general with Shurima. Very excited for the new cards that have been revealed. But right now, getting the hush. Right now, getting the hush onto the Lee Sin here. Going to possibly start to deal some damage to it and chip away at it. Not really going to be able to remove the Lee Sin for the time being, unfortunately. And we are still going to get a super cool star chart on the side of BBoom, and that's what Zoe does best, right? You hate to see Zoe come down early against you. Generates that value turn after turn, getting those super cool star charts. We'll see if it's going to have an impact
Ooh,
here. Dragon's Rage, here we go. We can see it, Boulevard.
that is actually really big because, Legendam has the deny, so it's not as big as we want it to be. But in BBoom Teemo's mind, Legendam just can't develop Lee Sin.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point as well. I mean, and the fact that BBoom already has the Lee Sin on field, that's a huge advantage. I mean, now we're even going to get the Zenith Blade onto Lee Sin. So most of this combo is set up. We don't really have a whole lot of protection for the Lee Sin in hand outside of this Pale Cascade, and I guess technically we can Guiding Touch if anything, removal were to come out, but that's not going to be the case versus Legendam. This could get denied right here as well. Looks like we're going to draw first, see what we get. We have our own Lee Sin now, so this could be Lee Sin coming down for Legendam as well. We are just going to let the Zenith Blade go through, so this could be the battle of the Lee Sins here pretty quickly, and I don't know. I mean, BBoom already having this Dragon's Rage just might come in pretty big, but the deny in hand for Legendam looking to shut that down pretty early here.
I'm not even sure what Legendam would do with their Lee Sin if they did play it. They've got the attack token. It seems a lot more likely to me that we're just going to throw down an Eye of the Dragon and kind of see where we go from there. Because at the moment, like, we don't have... I mean, I guess we could go for the Lee Sin now, try to Zenith Blade it next turn, and see how much we can get done. But, you know, you are running the risk of BBoom Teemo's Lee Sin being bigger. If you try to challenge that, you could just get hushed. You know, things are a little bit scary for Legendam at the moment, but I do agree that we need to get it down and start getting our Veiled Temple procs onto that.
All right. Well, here's the return Lee Sin here. Going to be followed up by a Guiding Touch by BBoom, and Spell Thief as well could be huge, especially with that Deny in the hand of Legendam. If that does come out, we could yoink a Deny in return, but we're going to get it now with the super cool star chart. Looks like, yeah, we're going to get the Serpent here. This looking to, I guess, take down the Zoe going into this attack turn.
Yeah, just pull the elusive out of the way, make way for your own Zoe. I think that, you know, it's kind of funny. If you see on the player cards there, they have decided to use the leveled Zoe picture for her champion representation within the decks of these players. And I think that BBoom Teemo is really on track to level his Zoe and see, you know, how far we can take that into this game. And now BBoom Teemo gonna just, you know, throw out a, hey, do you have enough burst spells in hand to save your Lee Sin? Just kind of check you on this, since, you know, I have plenty of spells to do it on my own. Your Lee Sin's not big enough for me to be worried about a hush. And we're actually just going to go for the kick even.
Yeah, that... Oh, man. You know, just getting this Lee Sin down that much earlier with the Veiled Temple, such a huge advantage for BBoom. We're seeing that here. I mean, really, like a 10-8 already on this Lee Sin on turn 7 is pretty disgusting, already getting this Dragon's Rage off on your opponent's Lee Sin.
So, are we going to... We're going to deny the Lee Sin's Dragon's Rage, right? Okay, and then we're just going to Dragon's Rage the Lee Sin anyway.
And that's going to feel... I mean, technically, Legendam would have enough mana left over for, theoretically, another Deny if it came down to it, but...
Yeah. But there's only 2 Deny in the list. I think that if BBoom Teemo can get both of the Deny out of Legendam this turn, they're actually going to be pretty happy with that.
Yeah. I mean, I got to agree, right? Because then you're losing a lot of your protection for your Lee Sin by using both of those Denies. So, yeah, we're going to... Oh, see, now here's the Spell Thief. So we might actually also be trying to get the Deny on the stack here.
The Deny, yeah. I mean, we have a 10-attack Lee Sin. We might as well go for lethal. It's the better play. As much as I did want to see this Dragon's Rage, we do just, you know, get the Deny out.
This is much better.
Even if we didn't have, you know, the lethal here, I don't think we actually would have seen the Dragon's Rage out of BBoom Teemo. It, you know, probably would have been better to save that for when your opponent has committed a few more resources into their Lee Sin. But we're going to see the Spell Thief back onto the Deny, ideally, but I don't know if it was offered up to Legendam. BBoom Teemo has played a lot more spells and actually gets the Spell Thief. So we're gonna spin the wheel again. Vanna, can I buy a vowel?
Just do it. Rip it. What do we got? This is great. This is what Spell Thief was meant to do. All right, Boulevard.
Oh! Okay.
Misses.
That's
horrendous. Those are terrible
choices.
Nothing. Oh, wow. That's a feels bad man moment. You know, when your opponent gets the Spell Thief, it gets exactly what they need, and then you get it and get absolutely not what you need whatsoever. Yep, that's feels bad. Oh, man.
Not only that, but you got the Spell Thief. You got your second chance, and it still just didn't mean anything. Yep. And I gotta say, turn 7 feels insanely early for a Lee Sin mirror to be ending like this. Players have it out, but, you know, not going to be the case. We do have the Concussive Palm, but we don't have anything to stop the Dragon's Rage. I guess other than the fact that, well, no, because we're not even going back up to, or rather, we're not going to be at 10 life. We're going to be at 7 life. So I know that a little bit of the attack on this Lee Sin is temporary, but I think it's still going to be in one-shot range, especially with that Pale Cascade.
Yeah, Boulevard, I got to touch on what you just said there, too, that this is incredibly early for this to be potentially ending like this, and it's this Veiled Temple, man. The addition to Veiled Temple in this deck just super accelerates this Lee Sin win condition. It's absolutely insane. You know, we already have an 8-8 on the side of BBoom.
I was going to say BBoom can Dragon's Rage here, and then Legendam can live with double Guiding Touch, but then that's their entire turn. Yeah. There's nothing stopping you from once again just going in with the open attack of your Lee Sin, especially since you still have the 0 mana Behold the Infinite in hand. But instead, it looks like we're just going to try and stun out the Lee Sin and go for lethal again next turn, save this Dragon's Rage for the absolutely last possible moment. you know, UCG BBoom Teemo not playing for the camera as much as we would love him to.
Yeah, and it's funny playing. We were kind of questioning that one off of Dragon's Rage. Like, oh yeah, this is an Asian thing. They're putting them in these lease index. It's an interesting concept to now have to, like, on the side of Legendam, you have to play around the off turn Dragon's Rage. So a lot of times you go up against Lee Sin, and you know that if you can make it through that turn, that attack turn of your opponent, and not die with the overwhelm of the Dragon's Rage on the Lee Sin, then you make it to live another day. You have a couple more turns to kind of do what you got to do. And that's not the case when your opponent's main deck in Dragon's Rage. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. There's 7 mana still up. I think we're going to get it. Yeah, we're getting it ripped here.
Yeah, so one thing that does confuse me a little bit about the way that Legendam sequenced this turn is with the way that we saw the guiding touches played, we drew into a Bastion. We still had 4 mana available. We could have, if we had fired off the guiding touch in response to Zoe's Paddle Star, we could have found the Bastion, stopped the stun onto our Lee Sin, and potentially, gone for a kick onto BBoom Teemo's Lee Sin back to their hand. And, maybe then we actually would have had a little bit more space to play in this game. But Legendam just waiting until the stun is already resolved, then firing these off, choosing not to Bastion the Lee Sin, and ultimately losing the game.
I'm just happy that we saw the Dragon's Rage come out and actually get utilized. Yeah, it's kind of what I was hoping for in this. I mean, we kind of joked when we got into this game about the Lee Sin mirror, but it's a little bit more interesting when you have those off-turn Dragon's Rage. But here's an on-the-attack token Dragon's Rage, and that is going to close out the game for BBoom here, going up 1-0 in the top 16. I'm going to bring it back on over to us so you can just give me 1 second here while I get up the next game. Oh! Nothing, just the look on your face. All right. I'm excited that we actually are getting to see. I love doing these like other countries' seasonals with you, Boulevard, because it gives us a really good idea of just what's being played around the world as opposed to just NA and EU, which is, I mean, as well as I do, that's primarily what we're casting, and a lot of what the viewers on this channel and people that might follow you or you or myself, that's usually what they're seeing is NA or EU. So this is really nice to be able to see these games.
Actually, I think I think I have something like 110 or 120 videos on my YouTube channel, and I legitimately think that half of them are actually Asian tournaments.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Boulevard's YouTube is like a one-stop shop for Asian tournaments for Legends of Runeterra. That's the place to go if you want that kind of content.
You have to scroll back a few months because they haven't had one since the seasonal started up, but
yeah, 100%.
Actually, it's March now. We are actually, I believe, like 4 days from now is the 1-year anniversary of the Riot Korea Invitational that actually started my casting career in Legends of Runeterra. That was like the first tournament.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to take this Captain Flowers approach and just cast everything I can get my hands on. Let me throw it on YouTube. People will watch it. And I mean, a year later, here we are back at the Asia seasonal. I love this.
Where it all began. It's just like the OLS too, right? It's just the origin stories, right? So, all right, we got pretty aggressive start from BBoom here, though. I mean, we've seen these being played before, and very, very interesting here if this aggressive start is actually going to pay off for BBoom. Going up against something like Lee Sin, there's not a lot of removal, and we can see in the hand of Legendam too. There's really honestly no good way of dealing with anything on the field of BBoom right now. This might be a very early win here.
Yeah, we talked about that pirate aggro petty officer tech potentially looking to target out Lee Sin decks. Lee Sin is a deck that is simple. You can just go wide and beat it. I don't care what you go wide with. I remember one of the first times we saw, I don't remember what deck it was, but I remember it was something kind of off the wall, and it beat a Lee Sin deck, and you were super excited, like, oh yeah, this beat Lee Sin, and I'm like, actually, he just got out 2 Eye of the Dragons and just beat him down with Dragonlings, and like, Lee Sin just couldn't do anything about that.
Yeah, and this Hush, too, is like backbreaking. That was kind of the one hope for Legendam right now was, hey, I get a super cool star chart, maybe I can do something.
I mean, there's... if BBoom Teemo plays Mountain Scryer next turn, we're just shy of
Yeah.
lethal.
That guiding touch
And
helps.
with Atrocity in hand, we might actually just have lethal very soon.
Wow, we're actually just taking the open attack here. I guess. I mean, I guess you could develop a Lee Sin here, which is why we go
Yeah,
for the
and
open.
then BBoom Teemo really can't afford to attack with the Aphelios. You're really only pushing 6 damage at that point. I do think that it's much better to go for an open attack like this, especially because if you do develop, we see that Legendam has that massive punish in the concussive palm, going to be able to stun out a unit and then block another one, depending on how much mana was committed by BBoom Teemo, because we do have the Crescendum. And actually, I think BBoom Teemo is going to be really happy to see that stun come out, because that means we can actually start cycling into other guns.
Yeah, good point, Boulevard. We're sitting here, our tiny little brains, worried about all these 3-1s on the field. Then there's the guns. Then there's even if we manage to survive here on the side of Legendam, now you have this value generating machine in Aphelios that still has to be dealt with. And I don't know, man. This is what a hand from Legendam. It always feels really bad when you get hands like this, especially against like what BBoom's playing. This isn't always the hand that you're going to open with on the side of BBoom. Like, this is not always how aggressive this deck is going to be in the very beginning. Now, can this deck be aggressive? Sure. There's plenty of different outlets for it to do so, but getting all 3 of these, wow, that's crazy. And it's really bad luck for Legendam. Wow,
Oh,
a Charger
man.
too, Jesus.
Yeah, we are
Wow.
we are well on our way to actually winning the game. I mean, with perfect information, BBoom Teemo could win the game this turn. Just throw down that Charger, send it face with the Atrocity. Legendam doesn't have anything to stop that outside of deep medding into a guiding touch off the top. But even then, it's a clean enough play that you're still taking home the victory just based on the amount of value that you're getting. Now we're finally going to be able to get into a different gun.
So we could have also saved it with the Pale Cascade there to, would have procced the
Veiled Temple.
And and I just say that because at this point I feel like you kind of have to draw cards to find. I mean, honestly, I don't even know what you're trying to find at this point. I don't know if anything actually gets you out of this, but
the really awkward part for Legendam is that I'm assuming BBoom Teemo phased that into Gravitum, and you only got the 1 unit still. Yeah, it's alive, but it's going to get Gravitumed. You're going to have to hush it as a blocker and save as much mana as possible so that you can Concussive Palm. But with 7 mana sort of pre-committed going into the next turn, BBoom Teemo is going to feel really confident going for this Atrocity lethal.
Yeah, and this is where Gravitum comes in handy for aggressive decks, because on a follower, it's going to get the double stun. So we'll actually be able to still open attack next turn and have one of these units be stunned. And that's one of the neat little things about Gravitum here. But my heart weeps for Legendam right now, Boulevard. This is like, there's nothing that you can do about this. There's always those games, Boulevard, where just your hand has been dealt to you and it just is what it is. And sometimes the stars, it's not written for you in the stars of that game, Boulevard. And that's kind of how I feel for Legendam right now. And that is exactly why we're seeing this surrender.
Funny enough, games like that are why I stopped playing Lee Sin so often. And I think Lee Sin is actually like the only